Hello and welcome to this semester and welcome to this class, Theories of Psychological Counseling. I really like teaching this class. It's one of my favorite classes to teach. It's a lot of fun. And so let's go ahead and get into it. I'm Dr. Marie Black. I am a psychologist and I was stationed out at Cannon Air Force Base and I've recently moved, which is why if you need to meet with me in terms of office hours, you'll just have to let me know and we can set up something virtually via Zoom or something like that. My goal for this class is to create a safe learning environment and that we have fun learning. So you'll see memes in my lectures and that kind of thing. I think, if learning is boring, then, why do it when you could be doing something else? That being said, I do also want to try and make sure that we're, following the syllabus, that we're submitting things on time. It's important to also hold some kind of standard, otherwise the work that's submitted often tends to just kind of slide downhill. So let's go ahead and get into the syllabus. You can see my contact information here, my email, that is my cell number. I'm about to start a job where I won't have my cell number, I won't have my cell phone with me during the day. So usually in the past, I've told students, text me, email me, text me, call me, and students have done that, and I'm fine with that. But given that I'm about to go into a job where I won't have my cell phone on me during the day, it's probably better to just send me an email. I do try and respond to emails within 24 hours. Sometimes it becomes 48 hours just because I have a full-time job on top of doing this. The material or the textbook that we're going to be using is Theory and Practice of Counseling and Psychotherapy. This is the 9th edition, which is actually an outdated edition, but you can see from the link here that it's a free edition, which is always nice. Textbooks can be a little expensive. If you want the 10th edition, you can go ahead and buy it. It's available online. You can just Amazon it or whatever. I'm not sure if it's available from the bookstore or not. It might not be because I don't think I, did my professor end of things and had them order it, but you can just buy it online. Course description and learning outcomes, I'll let you guys read that on your own. Attendance and participation, there isn't really any attendance for this class because we're not meeting in person, but your discussion posts, your assignments, those types of things will count as your attendance and will count as participation points. Just in terms of, how they're baked into other things. So for example, discussion posts, your participation there would be commenting to other peers, commenting to your peers, other students. There's two parts to this. So, and I have the point breakdown here if you want an explanation there as well. So part of it is that you post a discussion, which should be 200 words or more. If your post is shorter than 200 words, say it's, say it's 150 words, I'll knock off some points for that. I might knock off, 0.25 or half a point, depending on, depending on how much you wrote. And then the same thing if you comment to a peer, if your comment is say 50 points or under 50 points, I'll knock off say half a point or a point and a half. You might end up getting, 0.75 for that. It kind of depends. And then if you write a discussion post, but you don't comment to a peer, you'll only get half of the points that it's worth. So you'll only get 1.25 points or a point and a quarter as opposed to, getting full points. So I really stress this because, 2.5 points doesn't seem like very much, but if you miss 2 or 3 discussion posts, or what I've had students do consistently is just not comment to a peer, that might not seem like very much, like what's 1.25, but that really starts to add up over the course of the semester. It's 30 points total, which is a significant chunk of the points available for this semester. So, or for this class. So I would strongly stress, make sure that you're doing your discussion posts, make sure that you're following the guidelines here and, writing 200 words, writing 100 words, because if not, those points that you're losing will start to add up. Next, we've got the applied case blurb. These are kind of fun. I'm not as familiar with the 9th edition of the textbook. I've read the 10th edition because that's what we used last semester, or the last time I taught this class last fall. So I'm not sure, in the 10th edition, at the end of each chapter, you have an option to either pick Stan's case or Gwen's case. It might not be the case for the 9th edition. He might have only put one case at the end of each chapter, in which case you would just use that case. There should be some questions at the end of each case. You can pick 1 or 2 questions and respond to it. I think that's probably pretty straightforward. The research article. So students ended up losing points here because they either didn't pick a journal article, so a research article, they ended up picking blog posts or, I don't know, Wikipedia or whatever, things that weren't as reputable as their citation. You do need to pick a journal article or a research study that has been done from within the last 10 years. And then you just need to follow each of these bullet points. So what's the purpose of the study, that type of thing. And you can see here that each bullet point is worth half a point. It is important to note that there are 2 papers. So the first one, students didn't do as well. And then the second paper, students did better because they knew what to expect. And they were more thorough about addressing each of these bullet points. And then the other area that students ended up missing out on this, on points for this assignment was, they maybe wouldn't put the procedures in, or they wouldn't put the limitations in. Use this as an outline. So, make each one of these headers. That way you don't end up missing, you don't end up missing a bullet. And, again, the same thing here. Half a point might not seem like very much, but out of 5 points, if you miss 1.5 points, that's a pretty, that's a big portion of those points available. So make sure that you're following the outline and being thorough with this assignment as well. The presentation, here's the outline for the presentation, and then there's a rubric at the end of the syllabus, which we'll get to here in a minute. This is a presentation, so you do need to use some type of platform. Either Prezi or Canva is pretty popular, or PowerPoint is fine as well, but you need some type of visual platform for your information, for pictures. I like to put a lot of memes in my presentations or lectures. So, and then whatever content you're going to be discussing or talking about, which is the outline here. And it does need to be presented, right? It's a presentation. I know we're not in class, but this still needs to be either an audio or a visual presentation. So like I'm presenting to you guys now, you'll see a lot of my lectures either have video or audio presentation. It does need to be one of those. If you don't, it's not actually a presentation. If you just give me the information, without that, it's more of a paper, in which case you're going to end up losing a lot of points there. And then this last paper is also meant to be fun. So you'll choose one fictional character from a movie, pick a movie that you enjoy or that you're interested in. I've had people do it on Batman, on Spider-Man. So, the point here is throughout this course, throughout this semester, you're going to learn all of these different therapy approaches or theories. And so this is a chance for you to actually apply some of what you've learned. So think of Batman as your therapy client, or Spider-Man, or whoever you decide to choose, and actually apply the therapy that you decide to choose as well. So you could do CBT or ACT, and you'll learn all of those different techniques or acronyms and stuff as we go through the semester. And there's a rubric down at the end of the syllabus, which we'll get to here in a minute. This is the schedule and the organization of different topics that we'll be covering and when stuff is due. I'll let you read this on your own. I just want to bring your attention to the fact that some things, like the bigger assignments, like your midterm and your final, are due in the middle of the week, not on Sunday. And for the purpose of this class, Sunday is at the end of the week, not the beginning of the week. So You'll have time to read the lecture or read the chapter, go over the lecture, and then do, your discussion post or your blurb or whatever is due at the end of the week. Syllabus modification. I, as the professor, have the right to make any changes at any point in time. For this class, I haven't ever really made any significant changes, but I might add a few more things in, say like geek therapy. I think that would be pretty cool to cover. So there might be a few things that I'll add in. Late work, I don't accept late work, and there is no extra credit, so which really highlights how important it is to follow the syllabus, make sure that you're doing those discussion posts, make sure that you're commenting to your peers, because again, if you're not able to, do any extra credit, or if you're not able to turn in late work, that could be a problem. And the reason for this is because, especially with discussion posts, I know that we're not actually in class, but, if you take 3 weeks to respond to a discussion post, or you don't post a discussion until 3 weeks later, so, everyone else just posted about Adlerian therapy, and then, now we're on Gestalt therapy, and you come along and you say, oh, I need to do my discussion post. Everyone else has moved on to another topic. And so that's not as helpful, I think, because now we're not actually staying current. Something that I have done, I've switched it this semester to try it out. In previous semesters, I would have the discussion post open for just 1 week. What I'm going to do this semester, just to try it out, is have the discussion post open the entire semester. So for example, behavioral therapy, this discussion post will be open the entire semester, and then on the due date, it will close. So that kind of maybe incentivizes you guys to work ahead a little bit, since things are open for a much longer period than they have been the last time I ran this class. So just trying something a little different there. Also, what ends up happening, and this is just kind of sad to see, is a student, say behavioral therapy, a student will realize like 4 weeks later, oh, so the last time I ran this class, oh, 4 weeks later, I didn't submit this post. Let me go ahead and do it now. But the way that it was set up was, if you lose 2% or 5% every day that it's not due, you end up losing a lot, so that by the time the student would submit it, it would be worth like half a point or a quarter of a point. Like, well, now it's great that you did it, but you spent a lot of energy when maybe you just needed to focus on the discussion post that's due this week. So just trying to maybe save you guys a little bit of time and trying something different there. I'll let you guys read over all of this in terms of academic integrity, etc. Make sure that you're not plagiarizing. I've had a couple students just copy and paste information. That's a big no-no. Or I've had students submit information where they didn't cite their sources. Where's their information coming from? It's important to make sure that you're doing that. Something that I forgot to mention earlier in terms of the journal articles was there is a video that I created about how to find research articles or how to look for those. And if you have questions about that, if you go to the library, I'm sure that they can help you as well. But go ahead and spend a few minutes, watch that video. It will be super helpful. All right, so here's the rubric for the presentation. Covers, different things like content, presentation, flow, etc. Make sure that you're adding citations in there. As I just mentioned, that's really important to make sure that you're not plagiarizing or accidentally plagiarizing. The case conceptualization. So this covers a lot of different things here. You can see identifying information. So you would need to identify what fictional character that you're choosing. Are you choosing Batman? Are you choosing Spider-Man? Are you choosing, I don't know, Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, etc. What is their history of the presenting illness? So what's the problem? What's the issue? You would need to describe that, be thorough, be in depth there. And then you're going to break things down into what's the problem, what is the things that led to that problem. So what are those predisposing factors? things that happened in the past that maybe caused this now, what maybe recently has caused this, like say a breakup with a boyfriend or girlfriend, that type of thing. And then what are the factors that are keeping that problem or that issue going? That could be negative thoughts or negative emotions, or ongoing drug or alcohol abuse or whatever it is. So describe those things. And then we always want to be paying attention in terms of our clients to protective factors. So that's things like strengths. Does this person, whoever the client is, do they have protective factors in terms of supporting family members or friends that are there for them, that have their back, that kind of thing. And then, come up with just a short treatment plan in terms of what therapy are you actually going to use with this client? What is that therapy going to look like? How many sessions do you think that you'll end up working with the client? What theory or therapy approach do you think would be most useful or helpful for the client in terms of this concern or this approach? And then you're going to dig into the theory a little bit, so tell me about whatever therapy that you decided to choose. And a lot of this will be familiar because you'll have done it either for your presentation, or we'll just have covered it at some point, either in a lecture or you'll have read about it in a chapter. And then you're going to actually take that therapy approach, whether it's ACT or CBT or behavioral therapy or whatever it is, and actually apply it to the client. So, with Batman, I would use cognitive reframing, and this is what this would look like with this client, etc. And then, of course, APA formatting, things need to be in APA formatting. A lot of times I'll see students miss this spacing between paragraphs is set to 0. And let's see if I can show you this. So if I right click, I have an Apple, it might be different for you, but if I right click and pull up the paragraph, the menu here, I can click on paragraph and I can change the spacing here. And that's just a little trick that students do, because if I change the spacing, say I change it to 6 points, now you notice how it takes up more space on the page, which is how students will end up filling up their pages, and getting to 8 pages or 6 pages or whatever it is much more quickly. So don't do that. You'll lose points for that. And then effort, I've put this in, and this is a little subjective, but I added this because some students do really awesome on this assignment, and then other students, they maybe get to 5 pages or they get to 4.5 pages, and you can tell that they just haven't really put a ton of effort in, or they'll skip whole sections, they won't do this section or they won't do this section, and they haven't really put in effort. So that's what that's getting in. What that's getting at is, how much effort does it seem like you've actually put into this assignment? Does it seem like you just did it without really putting much thought into it? And that's the syllabus. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Thank you.